ScholarShot exists first and foremost to help kids exit poverty with career-ready degrees. That's what we do. The why is I'm a data person, and the data from the state was just awful as to what happens to first-generation low-income kids attempting college. 9 out of 10 drop out, and overwhelming that no one knows this, and we just keep pushing kids off the end of this cliff out of high school called college, where the majority of them fail. The system is designed to make the system look good. High schools advise kids, go to this expensive out-of-state school because that makes us look good. They have no idea where their kids are a year or two later. And universities are interested to take kids' grants and extend them loans and make little or no commitment to see them succeed. So the system is really designed to make the system look good, but at the expense of our kids. When we first got ScholarShot going, we took 3 to 5 kids in each cohort in, and we got to about a 50% degree rate, which was better than what the state was doing, but not what we wanted to achieve. So we didn't, as volunteers, understand things like articulation agreements. Why did a kid who graduated from, let's say, El Centro Community College with 65 hours, when she wanted to go to UNT Denton, they took all 65 hours, but UT Arlington would only take 35. We didn't know anything about that. So we brought Carlos Valadez, our first academic manager, on full-time in 2016. And from that point forward, we have been taking 50 new kids a year in. We have maintained a 90+% graduation rate, so exactly the opposite of the state's record. And it's what's so overwhelming is when kids graduate and we review their job offer letters, and these are kids that come from households making typically total household income $30,000 or less a year, and their first year salaries are $35,000 to $55,000. We have a graduate this year going to work at Microsoft at over $100,000. And to sit with her and say, look, after taxes, okay, you're going to be in Seattle, there's also state income tax, but your rent, expenses, this is the disposable cash you will have each month. And her response is, that's not possible. My family never had that. And so that's the joy of what ScholarShot is doing. It's helping these kids break from generational poverty, and truly their kids will not need a ScholarShot-like organization. The GapApp came out of a study that we did showing that our state is losing the percentage of kids attempting any post-secondary credential, meaning a vocational certificate, associate degree, or undergraduate degree. The percentage attempting has dropped from 60% now down to 46%. So that means over half the kids graduating from Texas high schools, 350,000 kids a year, that's 10% of the national total. Over half of them do nothing, which is a path to poverty. And fewer than a third, only 26%, so 1 out of 4 earn anything. And that's a tragic setup of these kids. And what we see is those who are advised to go to college, they have no idea their total out-of-pocket expense. We see kids that are getting $10,000 in grants, $6,000 in loans, and they're going to $29,000 a year school, and they have no idea that gap exists. So the GapApp is a know before you go. It's a 30 to 40 second online survey that any Texas high school student, parent, or counselor can take, and it will tell you to any 2 or 4 year school, here are your academic gaps, and most importantly, here are your financial gaps. And they're typically in the $8,000 to $16,000 a year range, the gaps that these kids face. So, the first generation, I'm going to Texas Tech, nobody is there to tell this young man or woman about these gaps, and that's what the GapApp is for. So the GapApp tells you 3 recommendations that fit you financially and academically. And those may be closer 4-year schools or less expensive 4-year schools, or maybe it's a 2-year start. And that's the other piece of the GapApp. Making a 2-year start is such a wise decision for kids from virtually any background. You're going to take the same courses the first 2 years that you would at a 4-year school at a third the cost. And if you're working or living at home, you'll have more hours, more money for that. Transfer to that shiny object school as a junior with no debt. Why not consider that? So the GapApp opens up that option for a lot of kids that have not been told about the benefit of a 2-year school. In fact, they've been told not to go there. One of the biggest misconceptions is nobody graduates from a 2-year school, so don't go there. Well, that's not true. Statewide, 34% of the kids that enroll do graduate. Over 90% of the ScholarShot kids complete a degree. The other piece is, well, you're not going to get as good an education. That is not true. The teachers are, they come from the industries or business areas or service areas that they teach in. And that's better than a tenured professor that's never really spent a day in the industry that they might be teaching about. So there are a lot of good reasons, and particularly for Dallas County, with the Dallas County Promise, any high school kid can go free. And why not consider that? Most importantly, why talk kids out of it? Mm-hmm. And that's what we're trying to address with the GapApp.